All right, Shalom. First and foremost, of course, all praise to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, Yahweh, which is named the Most High, and Yahweh Shai, which is named the only begotten Son. The world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. Let me just check real quick to make sure the stream is working all right here. So just give me a moment to check the audio. All right, it looks like we're all good here. So first things first. Um, I recently just put out a short little clip just an hour ago, announcing that tonight me and the deacon of the Sakari are going to be engaging in a debate tonight. That's about at 6 p.m. I believe for him it's 3 p.m. It just depends on the area you reside in, on the time zone. But the channel name that he's going to be streaming on is, I believe it's called Deacon Destruction Mode. Just look that channel up. That's going to be the channel we're going to be having the live debate on tonight. The name of the video, because he already has it, he has the video up. It's not live yet, though. The video is entitled We Want Smoke. But, me and him, we talked already in the Gmail. I hit him up on Gmail. Just like 2 nights ago, I hit him up, to try to have a debate with him. And I've been meaning to do so, for the last, long while. Okay, I've been meaning to at least have a debate with the Zakari for at least 2 years now. But, based on certain circumstances, I'm not, always available. And then, of course, the times I am available, I don't have internet or something would just go wrong. You know how that works. So looks like tonight I am available. So 2 years in the making. But hey, it's going to be one hell of a show. So, yeah, make sure everybody, if you're able to stop by for that. I also will record it on my end, and I will re-upload it to my channel. So if anybody, is not watching, live, well, then you can come back and you can watch it, when it's over. All right, so it'll be interesting. All right, but getting, into the topic of the video, man, which is what that prophecy is in the air, man. And, I mean, hell, man, looking at, the stuff that's going on right now, man. I mean, hell, only a damn fool could, not tell me that we're in the last days, man. All right, and how could you know that? Because, for one, Yahweh Shai, the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. He gave us, signs to look out for that would, just see real quick, that would, excuse me, I'm just checking out because I know, mind of God, right? T-Monk is called himself. He asked me before, to send him a link to the show. So I'm just checking out how to do that. Looks like, oh, all right, it doesn't look too difficult. Um, anyway, back to what I was saying, you know, Yahweh Shai, the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. He gave us, signs to look out for, that would tell us, okay, well, when you see these things happen, you'll be able to tell, the time that you're in. And we can do that today, right? I know certain guys, man, that, in Christianity, you talk to them about it and they'll tell you that, their best argument is that, well, people been saying for, hundreds of years, for thousands of years that Christ was going to return in their generation and it never happened. Right. So then they use that to say, well, there's no difference, today. Right. It happened back then. Right. They say Christ was going to return back then. It never happened. So it's not going to happen today. But hey, Yahweh Shai, who they ignorantly, call Jesus Christ, he gave us, signs that we can look out for that would, show, for lack of better terms, times that we're in. We are definitely in those days, man. All right, you go to what is that? Daniel 12th chapter. Um, talks about that in the last times the knowledge will be increased. And I mean, hey man, look at what's going on today, man. I mean, hell, you have this device which I'm recording on right now, which is called a phone, right, or a computer, depending on what you got. That you can literally call the person who lives on the opposite side of the world, right, or the world inside you. Um, but that's a miracle right there. And then if you go to what is that? Revelation, the 13th chapter, I believe that's the 15th verse. It says that he had power to deceive them by the means of those miracles that he had power to perform, right? And what is a miracle, man? Right? A miracle is being able to, somebody gets their arm taken off by, I don't know, let's say a crocodile or, alligator, or, it gets taken off in some type of injury, whatever that might be. If the arm is lost, they can give them a new one, whether it be bionically, right, a bionic arm, as I like to call them, or by taking the arm of somebody else and putting it on there. They can reattach a a limb that has been amputated, you know, for whatever reason. Or another thing, they can give you a heart transplant, right, or a kidney transplant. I mean, hell, man, they're talking about in the future being able to do head transplants, which might not even get that far, but the point is still made. All right, that's a miracle, right? That is a miracle on how one can, you know, lose a limb, whether that be an arm, a leg, a finger, or whatever it might be, and that can be reattached, right? That's a miracle. And another aspect would be, of course, the technology, because again, you have the technology today. Well, it even says that in the verse. It says what, that he had power to call down fire from heaven in the sight of men. Now, what is that talking about? That's talking about look what happened to in the Second World War. What was that? Bear with me a second. I'll be right back. Just bear with me a minute. All right, I apologize. I just had to check something I had over there on the stove real quick. Uh, anyway, as I was saying, looking back at the Second World War, which is what 1945 is when you know America dropped the the bombs. I believe it was Little Boy and Fat Man. I believe it was on the towns of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Which, if you do the research, those I believe they were what, atomic weapons, right? They um they actually exploded above the city, right? So fire rained down upon the population of those two cities. If you do the research into the subject. So that fulfills the prophecy, right? That he brought fire down from heaven in the sight of man, right? That happened back in 1945. And that's when that prophecy was fulfilled. Um, but dealing with what I was talking about the the miracles, that goes into technology, right? With this device I have in my hand here, you know, I can talk to somebody who lives 1,000 miles away. I mean, hell, I have a friend that lives over in oh, you have let's see, you have Luke Matt. He lives over in Australia, but I can talk to him on Google Hangouts, which is over the internet. You have Loving Krishna, which he lives over in the United Kingdom. where you can talk to him over the internet. You have Vigilant Soldier, which I haven't seen that guy for a while, but he lives over in the UK as well. You can talk to him over the internet. But you got brother Dasan. He lives over in I believe it was California, if I'm not mistaken. I could be mistaken. But hey, that's a long ways away from where I'm at. You can talk to them over the internet. So that's a miracle right there, right? This is a miracle that this man has power to do. All right, so that's the fulfillment of uh of that in prophecy. Okay, now as far as today, man, I mean, hell, all you got to do, man, is look at the state that the world's in right now, man. I mean, hell, here in America, Babylon the Great, um, you know, half of the population, right now can barely afford to pay for their home. So you have about 40, 45 million people, and that's just may I say rough, I mean a rough uh, estimate because that they're doing is they're counting the households. So it's 45 million households that are on the verge of homelessness because they're going to be evicted because they cannot pay the rent. But as I said, what they're doing is they're counting the households that are affected. They're not counting the individual people inside the households. One household might have 5 people in it. Another one might have 2 people in it. Another one might have one person in it. The next one might have 8 people in it. It just all depends and it all differs. So when they say 45 million households, they're just referring to like an individual household. They're not referring to the amount of people who are in it. So when they say 45 million households, it's really possibly around 70 million people. Because again, each household has a different amount of, members living in it. In fact, many times, especially right now, one household might have, 2 generations of family members living in it, right? Or, 2 families that, their friends or whatever living under one household because of, how hard things are right now. So the number is a lot higher than what they're telling you, man. And they're doing that on purpose, right? Because they don't want the people to actually know, how bad the situation actually is. And that's why, these higher ups of the society, these multimillionaires, billionaires, man, they're getting out of here, man, right? They're going while the going's good, right? They're, fleeing to, these heathen nations. That's a fulfillment of the prophecy because the scriptures say, you know, oh, let me see, what is that verse? And I believe that's Jeremiah, the 51st chapter, if I'm not mistaken. But it says, "Let every man flee from her, for every man shall flee to his own land, from out of Babylon." Right? Because when you deal with what is that? That's Revelation, the 17th chapter, the first verse, right? The whore that sits upon waters. But if you go down to verse 15, it says that the waters represented people, right? Multitudes and tongues, right? And that's what you have here in America. But hey, we're coming to the point now where all these businessmen who were becoming rich off of buying and trading with America, they're now all starting to flee from this land because this is no longer the land of opportunity, right? Because this Babylon the Great is most certainly fallen, man. Right, this place is fallen, man. All right, it's evident, man. Anybody that disagrees, well, I mean, hey, well, you're just not living in real life. It's very simple, right? I mean, it's evident, you know, what you have going on right now, right? The living, conditions of the people right now are unsustainable. I mean, hell, man, everywhere you go, and I can speak from my own experience, man. And I shared the story before, so I'm not going to do it again, man. But it's getting so bad, out here now where you have people risking, you know, jail time over trying to steal something that's only $5. And as I said, I speak from experience. I've seen it happen. All right, and that's crazy, man. I mean, why would one risk the chance of going to prison over saving $5? And I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen. But that just shows you, the desperation of the people right now, the time that we're in. You see what they don't want the people to actually know what's going on right now, man, because hey, look, if you just look at the history of let's talk about, say, for example, the Great Depression, which was what is that, like 90 years ago, 90 some years ago. Um, back then, the reason why I mean, hell, people were doing bad back then, but people are going to be doing 100 times worse today. You know why? Because back then, for one aspect, is children actually, they knew how to work, they knew how to cook, they knew how to clean, they knew how to, you know, take care of a household at a young age, man. Had children back then working, which I shouldn't call them children because a person who's 13 years old isn't a kid. They're a young adult. But you had people who are 12, 13, 14 years old who had to work, sometimes, full time, right back in that time. Why is that? Because they had to grow up quick back then, all right? And, you didn't have the internet back then, right? And, kids had to grow up quick, back in that time. Then for everybody else of the society, you know, they all were, more manly back then. Because again, you didn't have video games back then. So guys couldn't sit around all day and play games all day. They had to get out there and work. All right. So if you just look at what happened back then, you saw how bad things were for those people living in that time. But hell, it's going to be 100 times worse now because I mean, hell, the people back then they actually cared about one another to a certain extent, more so than the people around here now, man. I mean, hell, you know, I mean, damn, I can't even make a joke about what's going on right now, man. God damn, ain't nobody care about anybody. And that goes into the scriptures because the scriptures say what that in the last days the love of many will wax cold, and that's what's going on right now, man. Right? People don't care about one another anymore. Matter of fact, scriptures speak about at that time, I believe this is in Second Ezra's, I want to say the 15th chapter. It says that at that time friends shall fight one amongst another. Right, at that time friends are gonna fight one another because of the lack of resources. Right. So, you know, we're clearly coming into those times, man. All right, any false pastor out here, like the IUIC, right? They're out there teaching that we don't have to go through the Great Tribulation. One of the guys joined the chat room. He said, "Big showdown tonight." Yeah, hey, look, mind of God, there's gonna be a spiritual KO tonight, man. Hey, look, ETT, and don't get me wrong, I like Deacon and Hassad. I like those guys, and I hope they receive salvation. But hey, look, I am the notorious B.I.G. of the scriptures. So D. Kuhn and his sidekick Facade, I'm gonna mop the floor with them tonight. Spiritually, that is. And again, don't get me wrong, I like those guys, but ETT Yasha, I'm gonna mop the floor with D. Kuhn Sakari and his sidekick Facade. All right, those brothers are gonna get their ass beat, of course, spiritually. All right, it's be a spiritual KO. Right? There's one hell of an event that's gonna be going down just a couple of hours here, man. Or I should say this evening. Right? So hey, make sure y'all tune into that. Monica said you are Biggie and he's Eminem. Hey, man, you know how it is, man. You know how it is. You know, hey, mighty God, just make sure you have your popcorn ready, man. And I believe it's gonna be, as I said, it's gonna be a We Want Smoke. So I mean, you can join in as well if you want it. It's an open mic, but I get first dibs. But I get first dibs because it was set up so I could join. Because I reached out to the Deacon, or may I say Deacon, on the on his Gmail, and we went back and forth for a little bit and agreed tonight would be a good time. So that's gonna be a very interesting debate. I really look forward to having a interesting conversation because they said some stupid ass stuff, man, that needs to be addressed. those guys said that I wanted to talk to them about well, there's many things. Flat Earth was one of them, which might have got him like that. Uh, but one of the things I wanted to talk to him about is he said that at the kingdom of heaven, right? What is that? Revelation 21st chapter. He said that that's not an actual kingdom. He said that's talking about people. No, that's not true. That's talking about the kingdom of heaven because it clearly goes into defining the measurement of the walls, right? It says the city was pure gold, right? The streets were gold. So I don't see by logical deduction, I can't see how one could pretend that that's not an actual kingdom. And if that's the case, well, what about when Vocab Malone, well, you all know who Vocab Malone is. What about when Vocab Malone says that Babylon the Great is actually the entire world? But then Deacon brings up, but wait, it says it's a city though, so how could it be the whole world? So I'm going to bring up and say, well, wait, how could the kingdom of heaven be not talking about an actual city if it actually says that the kingdom of heaven is a city? I don't see how he could, really refute, um, such a claim. Let me just see the chat real quick. Mighty God said, I would prefer to hear a freestyle battle, hear your actual flow. Well, you see, hey, look, man, I'll say this. I got to give credit to, the Deacon, man. All right, because, hey, look at a freestyle, man. His flow is absolutely insane. I mean, he would dethrone me from my title of being the notorious B.I.G. when it comes to his flow. I will give him that. I will give him that. Right? He got me there. He does have me there. Um, But hey, when it comes to these skip cheese, that brother get his ass beat, man. Hey, look, that brother, just like my boy here, Mind of God. When you ask Mind of God certain questions like Revelation, the second chapter, the 26th verse, this brother would tap dance around those scriptures like the bottom half of Betty Ripson. Which, if anybody read the It novel, you know what I'm talking about. Inside joke. Anyway, um, let's see. The Mind of God said it's double meaning. It's a collection of souls and a replenished place on earth. Well, in a sense, I do agree with that. However, when you deal with it literally says it's an actual kingdom, and it goes into the measurement of the city and the walls of the city, and that it says that you can't enter in unless you're written in the book of life. So how is that not an actual city? Clearly, Revelation, the 21st chapter and the 22nd chapter, are talking about an actual physical built up uh, kingdom. It's not spiritual, right? It's not a spiritual kingdom. It's actually a physical structure that is built on the earth. And you can see that because it even mentioned the measurement of a man. It said that of the angel though. So it's given the measurement of the height of something. Let's see. Yeah. So I'm gonna be asking them, the Zakar, because I'm not sure what their position is on the topic of the whole flat Earth issue. I don't know if they teach the round Earth or the flat Earth. They really don't talk about that subject, even though a few months ago, Deacon put a flat Earth picture over one of his live stream thumbnails. So maybe he does believe it, but I don't know. That's why I'm gonna ask him tonight. You know what he thinks about it. Mighty God said Luke 17:21, King James version. Neither shall they say, lo here or lo there, for behold, the kingdom of God is within you. And he's using that to say, well, but it's not an actual kingdom. Also, so what about, mighty God, you do a video about it. Go read Revelation 21 and 22, and you tell me that's not talking about an actual physical kingdom. It literally goes into the stones that the gates were arrayed into. That's like if I was to make a statement and say, well, Babylon the Great, it says it's a city, but it's actually a religion. So how would you be able to refute that then? How would you be able to refute that if I was to say, well, I mean, it says Babylon the Great is a city, but it actually means it's a religion and a religious belief, right? As Vocab Malone says, Babylon's the entire world. I mean, come on. Let's see. bringing up these verses about the kingdom of God is within you. That's talking about the just like as Christ said, a man must be born again. Does that actually mean that you have to enter your mom's womb again and be born again as a grown man? No, it doesn't mean that. It's a parabolic um talk. However, you have to know when something's parabolic and not parabolic. With that being said, is there actually a beast that lives in the ocean that has 7 heads and 10 horns? And the scriptures also say, I believe that's Revelation, the 4th chapter. I could be mistaken. It says that Christ had 7 eyes. So does your Christ, mind of God, actually have 7 eyes? Or what does that represent? And you know the verse I'm talking about, right? Anyway, let me see. Mind of God said, yes, it does mean that it supports reincarnation, born again. Well, Christ said that a man, in order to see the kingdom, he must be born again. So somebody asked him, the Pharisees asked him, well, how could a man enter into his mother's womb a second time? And he said, it's a spiritual thing. Right? It's just a spiritual thing. It's not, you can't literally enter into it again. It's a spiritual thing. As far as reincarnation goes, I suppose one could say that's, born again in a physical sense. But that leaves out the spiritual, sense of being born again. All right. Um, let's see real quick. Mighty God said, you opening the panel? I need to prep you for the debate. Let me see. I mean, maybe I can bring you on for a couple minutes, but I can't stay too long. All right, so I might put the link there for you to join for a few minutes here. But if I do, it's only going to be for maybe 10, 15 minutes because, I'm doing a quick one today. So let me see. Okay, I think it's in the chat now. I don't know if you guys can see it. Oh my God, said our convoys always go viral. Yeah. Whenever we have a discussion, it's um usually always good. Let me just check the YouTube real quick. Um, just check. Excuse me a minute. Okay, let me just see. So I'm trying to send a link here. Okay, let me just go to the YouTube. All right, this should work here. Okay, there's a link in the chat, whereas the Deacon would say, click a link. Inside joke. As I said, if you do join, it's only going to be for a handful of minutes here. Because I'm not planning on doing this for too long. But the link's in the chat. And of course, I want to say shalom to all our new joiners here. Let me see. Hey, mind of God, how you doing, man?
ETT, what's up, man? Can you hear me?
Yeah, man. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, dude, I just need to prepare you, man, for what's about to go down. So, I'm like I'm your trainer, so to speak. So, how's everything?
Hey, man, same old. I survived. That's all I can say.
That's good. That's cool. So, man, I'm just killing time, just getting the day started. What's up?
Oh yeah, I hear you, man. As I said, it's we just gotta combat our boredness, so to say, man. But yeah,
Yeah,
I'll have you on for a few minutes here with me. As I said, I'm not sure how long I'm gonna stay on because I was just, coming for a few minutes today. But yeah, man, it's good to to have you on and to chat with you, man. And are you gonna be there to watch the discussion
I
tonight?
absolutely am, and my ears are going to be perked towards the topic of the flat Earth. Which
Oh yeah, absolutely, man.
is
What
one
what are
of my
your what are your thoughts on that? How do you think Detune is gonna handle that?
Well, I think I don't know. Actually, I'm curious. What angle are you gonna? Well, maybe you don't want to give away what you're gonna talk about, but I am curious as to why they're not explicit about that because I have a video on my channel with the other guy, the taller guy. He's
Are you
like
talking
making
about? Yeah, yeah, I saw that. You're talking
Urban
about
Gorilla.
the gorilla, right? Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
gorilla.
like
That guy's the top dog of the Sequoia.
right. So him and Tahar are chopping it up, making fun of the flat Earth. So now I'm like, did they get revelation from the Most High between then and now? And I
Oh, oh,
want to.
which by the way, which I apologize if I cut you off in the middle of your talk.
Yeah.
I have poor internet, so sorry about that. But
Oh,
anyway,
it's fine.
I wanted to say that the other day I saw that Apostle Gabar did a video. He said that NASA faked the moon landing, but I called him out in the comment section and said, well, wait a second. So they faked the moon landing, but you're not going to be concerned about the photos of Earth. So I called him out, and all he did was say, but he brought up Isaiah 40 and 22. But then
Yeah,
I said, well, wait a second. Is a dinner plate a circle? And he couldn't answer that. He was just like, well, we'll skip over that part.
dude.
That's all
What
he did.
channel was that? If you don't mind, I want to go and just read that.
It was a channel called Israelite, so it might be hard to find. But if you go to my subscriptions, you might be able to find it.
Okay,
It's a weird name.
I'll check it out. I go to their info doc too once in a while, but I pretty much unsubscribe for everybody, pretty much except for you and like a couple others. So I don't really know as
Right.
much of what's going on. So, but I put a reminder for that debate tonight because that's going to be an absolute KO. So
Hey, look, man. As I said, I don't get me wrong. I do like the Sakari, and I have much respect. But with that being said, ETT is going to give the D Coon and his sidekick Facade. I'm going to mop the floor with those boys tonight.
he's the nicest out of all of them because he's the most calm. Like everybody else goes crazy when you argue with them. Like they'll go nuts.
Well, hey, I hear you, man. I hear you. But hey, guess what though? The D Coon has met his match tonight.
Yeah, it'll be good. I think he knows a lot. I think that it was funny when I went on there the way that we basically went through Revelation 11, and you know he was actually. I mean, I would say he was diplomatic because he's kind of like the way you are. He's like maybe it's nothing completely wrong kind of thing. So
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. As I said, you always got to be, open,
yeah,
open-minded, to,
right,
and that's a problem with, GMS and all that, which again, I like GMS, but they don't have 100% truth. And I call them out on that. And all I get is, well, but you're a scoffer then if you say we have 99% truth. It's like, wait a
yeah.
second. If you got the whole truth, why can't we just have a civilized conversation about, let's say, the flat earth or something like that? Or what about Romans, the 13th chapter? What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah. Yeah, I think you give them credit. So I think it's harder for me to talk to them now because I routinely throw them under the bus. So I don't even like going to their camp because I'm sure that they know that, I speak ill of them. And then I didn't as much at the beginning because I was like, they know a lot. Like I give all of them credit, not to lump them all together because they all have different views. But the Hebrew Israelites as a quote movement, they know a lot about the Bible, a lot. So you got to give them that. But there is a lot of room for debate for sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
So, but yeah, man, I'll be tuning in. I'll never miss something like that. Because you're my student in many ways, so I want to see how you do. Out there in the world. So we'll see.
Yeah, yeah, man. I most certainly look forward to this discussion because I've been meaning to reach out to them for a while now because I've been watching them for a good 2.5 years, but I never had, the opportunity to to come on because either, I can't leave the house because I don't have internet or
Yeah,
because I can't record at the house because somebody else is there at the moment. So,
yeah,
just that's just how my luck is. But hey, I reached out to him on his Gmail the other day and we, agreed to to have the talk. But as far as the topic of the flat earth, I'm just gonna, come at him from a couple different angles. I'm gonna first call him out and ask him, well, why do you guys not like to talk about this? If you ask the question, it'll always be ignored.
yeah.
So I just want to see what he has to say to that.
I'm curious to know. I'm pretty sure that they're not allowed to. My position on the way these people are. They're not allowed to talk about certain things. I'm certain that Tahar knows the Earth is flat, without a doubt. Like he's stupid, but he's not that dumb. No,
Yeah,
nobody
well,
believes the Earth spins. That's
a
ridiculous.
few years ago, sorry to cut you off, but a
Yeah.
few years ago he uploaded a video on his page. It was I don't know if you ever saw it was that the Pizza Hut, the alien commercial where he said that the Earth was round
Yeah.
like home. So Horror uploaded that on his channel. This is probably about a good 4 years ago or so. But
Mhm.
it's like, why? Why would he re-upload that if that didn't have anything to do with the skip G's inside
Yeah.
joke?
Tahar, I give him credit because he understands the UFOs probably better than anybody that I've seen on YouTube or possibly ever. Like I learned the UFOs from Farrakhan initially. Like the very first time I ever heard somebody speak of UFOs first and then say that they're righteous was from Louis Farrakhan. But Tahar, I think he uses them too much in his breakdowns, but I give him a lot of credit in that he's the only one that I've seen that understands how much they're in the Bible. So,
Yeah, yeah, man. As I said, I give GMS my credit because I learned a lot of my stuff from them. Now I didn't learn all my stuff from them because I've been in the truth for 7 years.
yeah.
So I only been following Great Millstone for 5 years. So it was a few years before that I did my own stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, hey, you got to give credit where it's due, and that's even in Romans the 13th chapter. But one thing I always get on GMS about is they teach that Romans 13 means to obey the government, but it's like, well, wait a second. Oh,
No.
and then well, wait a second. What is it? Gabaris made a statement in one of his videos, and he said that well, we obey the law of the land that doesn't go against the Bible. So I brought up, well, wait a second, what about Leviticus 20 and 13? That goes against the scriptures. And he couldn't answer that. He was like, well, we'll skip over.
Yeah, there's so many contradictions when the law of the land is designed to be against the Bible, every single law.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
and it's like, well, wait a second. It says in Romans 13 that he is the minister of God. So I brought up, well, wait a second. Well, how is the minister of God promoting homosexuality? And they
yeah,
didn't know. They just like, well, we'll skip that.
right, right. Well, dude, now that I got you here, man, we got a few minutes. My favorite topic also is the mark of the beast. Are you going to bring up?
Oh, wait, hey, man, just so you know, let's not really talk too much about that because
No, I won't say the
YouTube's
word. I
taking.
won't say the word. Yeah, I won't. I will. I won't. I'm going to speak generally about. What I like about your position is that you say maybe. You don't say for sure or whatever, and that's good. And
Yeah,
I wonder.
and
I
just
wonder.
so you know, for future reference while we're talking, just
Yeah.
refer to it as the thing because we both know what we're referring
Yeah,
to.
exactly. I won't even say that. I know the way how sensitive it is. So I
Yeah,
just think it's on his platform, and then you could probably bring that up, cautiously. But I'm actually
yeah.
curious as well about their position because I haven't seen too many videos about that, with them and like, what they're are they open, to like you are. Maybe it is because even Tahar's open to it. So I was like, damn, dude, and then we don't need Tahar or Sakari anybody to say that, but once they kind of say it and they get the word out, then I don't know, they have a pretty big audience. So I don't know.
Oh, my God, hold on just 1 second.
Yeah.
I want to say something to somebody in the chat.
Yeah.
Hey, two-letter J. Hey, look, man. Hey, click the link, two-letter J. Get you ass on here, man. You've been talking a lot of smack in the comment section, two-letter J. So hey, if you got the ball, then how about you join us here on the stream, man? Because I mean, hey, you never, I tried to reach out to you, but you didn't listen. So hey, I'll just put that out there. But anyway, my God, you can continue with what you were.
Well, yeah, no,
Saying.
I don't want to affect your stream negatively, but that generally it'd be interesting. If I could go on and ask them anything now, I'd probably want to talk about that, but like you said, we're not really allowed to, so I don't even
Right,
know if
right.
it's
I mean,
possible.
you can use certain words to disguise it. But I mean, yeah, remember, if you go to the page, which a channel that he's doing it on is called the Deacon Destruction Mode. It's his new channel.
Yeah.
Um, hey, remember it's an open mic, so you're also allowed to join in. Because they call it the We Want Smoke.
Yeah.
But you
Yeah.
made it primarily to talk to me, but anybody can call in, when I'm finished or whatever. So, that option's always there if you feel like doing so.
Yeah. No, we've spoken enough. I think I get the gist of it, but it's cool. My views are my views, and then they're unique, and then we'll see, in the sky. But
Yeah, man. As I said, it's always, we gotta all be open because, as I said, you could be right. You could be right, and I could be wrong. I humbly admit that. I'm not gonna be like these guys out here.
Yeah.
Which again, not to get on Great Millstone, but those guys are on there saying that they have 100% truth. But if I was to just suggest that maybe you're wrong with one teaching, well, then you're some type of like sellout and you're being paid. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? It's like, come on.
Dude,
Like
can I ask?
somebody actually go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
Or like I was gonna make a joke and say, yeah, like somebody's actually being paid to lie to 100 people that subscribe to their channel. I mean, come on.
Yeah. I don't believe all these people are for the government, by the way, or Illuminati or anything like that. I just believe that they're actors. Like I genuinely believe
Yeah,
some
yeah, I
people
agree.
that come by our channel and argue with us about basic things, they genuinely believe they're basic things. Like they really do, Like I don't believe,
Oh yeah, absolutely,
I don't
absolutely.
think that they're all government trolls and stuff, but a lot are for sure. Like the people that like they don't have any videos, they don't go back and forth, because when you go back and forth with somebody, that's probably not necessarily guaranteed, but like they care about following up, and then asking. So those people, I sort of give them a pass that they might be real people, but this, a lot of people on YouTube are like, just they might actually be sitting at Google, like in the Google offices or something, I don't know. So
Right,
yeah.
absolutely, man, absolutely. But yeah, man, I mean, hell, what are your thoughts about those guys who teach that that Babylon's the Vatican? Let's talk about that for a few minutes.
Dude, I was gonna ask you before I get into this, is a question I was gonna ask you, dude. And like, this is not like in any I'm not trying to say this in a negative way, but I'm just curious because you're into the Bible. Like, if you were to like bet your whole worth, like or something really valuable to you, how confident are you that the Bible's true 100%? And I'm not saying this in like trying to get an answer or whatever, but are like, if you were to like, yeah, how, like, would you say it's 100%, you would say, or like 95, or
Uh, I would say 95, and I wanted to address something real quick because I made a statement the other day in a stream, and I said that I believe you watched it, and I was saying that we really don't know at the end of the day. We
yeah.
gotta fully believe this, but at the end of the day, we really don't know. So somebody, I believe his name was Cannon or something, he commented and said, "Well, what do you mean that we don't know?" And then he was like, "Oh, I know for sure it's true." It's like, okay, well, I mean, well, how do you know? I mean, can you call down the Most High to show you that He exists? And he was like, "Well, no, I can't." So I asked him, "Well, how do you know for sure?"
Yeah.
And he didn't really know. So I mean, we got it. We do believe in it, of course. That's why we're out here teaching.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, nobody's gonna know until Yahweh Shai, actually returns, and then we're gonna physically see it. And the
Yeah.
scriptures
Agreed.
even, I believe that's Romans the first chapter. It says that the invisible things of the Most High are clearly seen, right? So we can see, by the creation of the world, that there's clearly a higher form of intelligence at hand. But anyway, I'll
Yeah.
throw it back to you to discuss the whole Vatican issue.
Yeah. That's that's crazy, man. Like at this time, this is what I love about the Bible. Many things about it is like, dude, so many of the truths are obvious. Like, if Mystery Babylon is anything but America, the Bible just doesn't make sense. It does not make sense at all. Then we don't know where the Jews are. We don't. Well, then what's the center, the nucleus of the evil? Then, if it's not America, then I don't know. Like, like it does. I can't even think of like another option that makes sense. Like even the flat earth, you could say Isaiah 40:22 means a ball, and then just go along and ignore all the other ones. You can if you really want to. But with America being Mystery Babylon, how do you read 17 and 18 and not come to that conclusion? Come on. So it's obvious. And then it's scary because you and I live in America, but like, I don't know how much more obvious it could be at this point.
Right. Like I know Rock upon him, that guy. Which I don't know. What do you think about that whole debate that we had when we met up in real life? What were your thoughts about that?
I think I saw some of it, man. Like you don't need to be debating people like that. You got to come for people like me and like I don't know, maybe Sakari. Like we're on a level above you, right? You admit this all the
Well,
time.
trust me. I was just being sarcastic with that guy. He got his ass beat in that debate.
I was
I was
I was
just
just
trying to
joking
make
with you
him look
right now, and I
stupid.
don't think you got it. But I was
I
like,
hear
dude,
you. I hear you.
you can't be debating people like that. Even the guy that I walked past yesterday to go to Chipotle, like I knew I shouldn't talk to him. I was like, it's basically like a kind of like a rock upon him, like metaphorically. And I was like, dude, this is a waste of time. You know, this guy's like yelling, you gotta repent, you gotta be born again. I was like, oh my god, dude. Like, I should have just went along my way and gotten my, Chipotle and just, but I couldn't help but stop and argue. But I would say, I mean, you said he's not even teaching the Bible anymore, so then he's
Yeah,
just an
yeah,
actor.
he's just playing video games is what he's doing. He likes that what's that game? He likes that Resident Evil game. That's what he's spending his
Jeez.
time doing right now. But anyway, I wanted to ask,
Yeah.
do you own a physical copy of the Apocrypha, and have you actually read the whole book
Yes,
yet?
I
Or
love it. Yeah, I do. I do. I
and
own.
let's talk about this for a minute. Like,
Yeah.
what are your faults about those guys who claim that the Apocrypha is not inspired and that it's like evil? Or what are your faults about that?
Well, I think the thing that I'm doing now with these sequence videos is that anything that is consistent with Revelation, any book that's consistent with Revelation, even movies are consistent with Revelation. I think that that's God teaching us something, So definitely like Ezra's, to me, second Ezra's, I don't even know how much better that's coming true. So just by how accurate it is in predicting what's going on, you know what here's the deal, ETT. You will probably understand this on a deeper level. You notice that I think there's references in Jeremiah about this quote war in heaven, a little bit more explicit, than in Revelation. But notice how Second Ezra is the most explicit about that, and so it's a secret. That's why you have to go into those for people who are deeper, because then the Bible without the Apocrypha is not as clear that there's going to be a war between man and these UFOs. It's there, it's subtle in other places, but the Apocrypha makes it crystal clear. So that's why people who are only deeper into the Bible will read it and understand. Oh shoot, that's what they're preparing for. All this military stuff. Like
Yeah, yeah, I hear you, man. I do agree. I do agree with your statement there, man. But hey, man, I suggest to you, because maybe some of your followers might not be familiar with it. You should do a couple more lessons regarding why the Apocrypha is, a valid source. Because I mean, hell, Yahushua himself,
yeah,
literally quoted directly out of the Apocrypha, and a lot of these cats don't know it, man. I mean, hell, you go up to any, Christian pastor, man, they'll get cut six ways to Sunday, in a discussion, dealing with sketchies. You
yeah,
know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Now, I want to talk about this real quick. So you're teaching, right? And we talked about this before, but just to recover,
yeah.
you said that there's not going to be slavery in the kingdom of heaven.
There's going to be like a hierarchy, but I just worry about using slavery because then you guys think slavery is like beating people over the head. So there will be slavery, there will be hierarchy. It will be according to the structure with Yahushai, Christ, the two witnesses, 144,000, and then all the nations, even Israelites, will be quote unquote reporting to the 144,000. I believe this whole existence is for that group now. I realize that more and more. The 144,000 men are the stars of the show, so to speak.
I
They're
understand. I
yeah,
understand that. That's a good, point to have on it. But if you don't mind, I
yeah,
do have to ask you though.
yeah.
Well, how would you um here, sorry, man, I'm gonna have to go real quick, all right,
No,
because
that's fine.
somebody
That's fine.
just showed up here. Anyway, man, I'll talk to you around, all right?
Okay, yeah. Take care.
All
Peace.
right, nice chat, man.
Bye.